There is a lot going on in the world at this time, energetically and spiritually. But the thing I want to talk about right now is um, a pattern that I'm noticing. Um, I want for those of you that are very spiritual, tapped in, our teachers, one of the things over the years that we have been feeling was to kind of be quiet because the world was not ready to hear our voice. And then certain spiritual things were not set up, but now they are. And so when you feel the urge to speak, I encourage you to speak. And now we're being told to speak plainly, which is before we have been speaking in code. But now the time is to speak plainly. And so there are going to be a lot of things you're probably going to hear from me that you're not going to like because they're not going to go with your programming. And some of you are not going to understand what that is until you debunk that. So you're going to be probably very angry or say that I'm misinformed. But the role of prophecy is just that. It is said before a thing happens. It's always crazy until it is finished. With GLP1s, one of the things that you have to keep an eye out for, a pattern, again, I'm talking about a systemic spiritual pattern, is anytime the world quickly gets onto one specific thing, I need you to start questioning that. When the day before you didn't hear anything about this, and the next day you hear everybody saying something about it, and it's coming in from all angles, I need you to question that. I need you to question where specifically the angles are and who owns those angles. Is it really coming at you from all angles, or is it one person that owns 10 of the angles? I need you all to embody more discernment, more pause, and to think independently. What do you feel about what is best for you? What do you think? Instead of just hopping on trend to trend to trend, because these things that are starting to be put out are not things that you can easily reverse. I want you to remember that there were previous drugs before for weight loss purposes. And so you all got from off that trend where you would go, I remember when I worked in corporate, they would go to this specific doctor, get these pills to lose weight. So you just go from one thing to another. See your patterns. One of the things you all are talking about is it quells the food noise. As someone who has lost 70 pounds and still losing naturally, maybe I'll talk more about this, but I just don't feel like you all are ready to hear that. And I'm not willing to be bullied because you all are not at a spiritual space to hear. I'm not willing to do that at this specific time. However, I can tell you for a fact, the food noise is a spiritual thing that you must work through. Spiritual as in woo-woo, spiritual as in you got to deal with yourself. Y'all are doing everything but dealing with you. I had a family member come to me and asked me, how did I lose the weight? And she asked another person in my family how they lost weight, because they also lost weight naturally, a different way. They lost it through low carbon keto eating. And I lost it through listening to my body, because I realized I was stopping myself. When I wanted to go on a walk, I was stopping myself. I just didn't notice that that's what I was doing. And even though we gave different answers, it was a similar pattern, right? And you watched each time as she zoned out, and could clearly see she's not doing this, because both answers required more work, more effort. I saw a quote that said, when people say that they've done everything to lose weight, what they meant was, I've done everything I'm willing to try. And the hard truth is, in one way or another, you have to deal with yourself. You have to face the thing you're running from. The food noise is there for a reason. Your body is not broken. It's not. It's a culmination of many things that you've been ignoring or haven't been dealing with adequately. Doesn't mean it's your fault, right? Trauma that happens to you, things that come up, right? But you have to deal with it. You will find as you start walking this journey that what happens is the voices quiet down and go away. The ones that are left are very accurate, very quick. The other thing is, it doesn't always make sense, because the food noise will say, I need Oreos. And what you assumed that meant is that you will do what you do every other time that you weren't conscious, that you will chow down on 3-4 bags, not realizing, just like with alcoholics, right? The alcohol was not the problem, it was a solution. The same thing, the cookies were not the problem, it was a solution. So when you're intuitively going into it, intentionally going into something, what will start to happen is you'll eat 2, 3, and you go, I'm done. You'll notice the voice that says, I'm done. You'll notice the feeling that says, I'm done. But then the other voice that says, no, I want to eat the whole thing. And then you'll start paying attention to that and watching that and go, no, I'm going to honor myself, right? And when I feel like I want more, I'll get more. You also have been withholding from yourself for a long time. So when you go on these restrictive diets, then you binge, of course. But when the cookies are always available to you, I always make this analogy. If the buffet is always available to you 24/7, you won't gorge. You only gorge when the buffet is only available from 6 to 7 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know what I'm saying? As you begin to do this work, you'll begin to encounter miracles, if you will. Basically, which are things you don't expect to happen. The food noise is there for a reason. It will quiet down once its needs are met. You have to do work with yourself and learn, what is this trying to tell me? What's going on? You have to take bets of faith. You have to, do all of the spiritual and physical work, but you have to deal with yourself. I think we also have to get honest with ourselves. I know there's a lot of stories going around like this isn't a quick thing. I've tried this and that. And I do believe that. This is not an unempathetic plea. This is just for people who are trying to understand or giving a voice to those who don't have a voice. I understand. Losing weight is very hard, especially given this climate. But you have to enact more discernment. You have to think for yourself, bro. You just got to. And you have to slow down. Stop running so fast. Stop hopping on one thing to the next, And I just watch people like zombies just doing things. And I live with one right now, and I'm like, you don't even need this. Not understanding. When I see older Gen X and boomers in my family doing it, so I'm like, you're already in menopause or completed menopause. You're already elderly. You've already struggled with bone loss. And you're taking a drug recreational, not because you're diabetic, not because you need it, not because of... For what? And we're the crazy ones for speaking up about this. No, this is not the time of silence anymore. The time where you all have bullied a lot of women do this, especially as become mothers and stuff like this, right? You are really, really familiar with manipulation and gaslighting. And when there's something you don't want to hear, how to turn an argument around to make people shut up or feel bad about themselves instead of dealing with truth. This is no longer the time for that. You will find it very, very difficult to use the same arguments that you've been using for years. That will not happen anymore. And you're going to be very, very frustrated. Not just with me, just in general, because people are going to be commenting on motherhood. You're going to be like, well, you're not a mother, so you can't. Right? The normal arguments that shut people down will no longer do it. And you're going to be very frustrated. For the rest of you, I urge you to think critically. Do things thoughtfully. If you feel that at this time, that is the next best step, what will happen is you'll do it very thoughtfully, and you won't be on there for a long period of time. And also you'll begin to work on the other things that are stopping you, right? Because the food is the solution. The food was never the problem. And so you have to deal with the root of that. If you're going into something for a quick fix, where you can sit on your couch and scroll and, whatever, you're going to get off of it. And you're, first of all, going to have medical issues because the side effects of those drugs are insane. But then you're going to be right back where you started, or worse, because it's damaged something that made it harder to lose or to maintain the weight that you had before. This really isn't prophecy. This is common sense, I feel, but you have to get good with sitting with yourself and making decisions for yourself. Thinking long term. You have to also get good with being honest with yourself. I have another family member. She was struggling to lose weight. She had lost the weight before, gotten surgery, gotten all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know why I can't get this last little bit off. And I'm watching her, I'm like, all day, you sit down. You're on your phone, scroll all day, literally. A couple of family members like that. I don't know what. Ma'am, get up and walk. You've got treadmills and a beautiful neighborhood. And this is not just one person, this is several people. And you look at me like, I don't know how you're just youthful. I'm like, ma'am, I walk 2.5, 3 miles a day. I'm looking into getting these workout programs. I got my basement set up, and they're free workout programs on YouTube, lifting weights. And lifting weights can be more than lifting weights too. Like if you go into the store, especially if you do stuff like Instacart and side gigs like that, you're lifting cases of water, cases of soda. I got muscles just off of that. So there's also a real issue when you're losing weight where they just don't, it's not necessarily saggy skin, but it looks kind of weird because you're not doing the strength training. You have to move your body. You can't just starve your body of nutrients and not, first of all, add back to it, because now they're saying, those same family members are going, oh, this food is bad. When you start saying fruit and vegetables are bad, girl, I'm gonna have to cut it right there. And that's what they're saying. It's too much sugar, too much. Ma'am, Fruit is medicine. As someone who does herbalism, I like that is the number one medicine. When your body is sick, the first thing it craves is fruit. What is going on? Like, what is going on this planet? What are you doing? What are we doing? I felt that since I was a little girl, just this collective, like, looking around and going, what the fuck are they doing on this planet? This feels like common sense to me, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'm too judgmental. I don't know. But you've got to move your body in some way, and it's not complicated. I know it feels like it. That was at the very beginning of my journey. It felt like nothing I do is going to work. But literally, I just started taking 10-minute breaks at work and just walking around the pond, going to my home, walking around the pond, going into grocery stores, especially when I did like side gigs like Instacart and stuff like that. And you're walking around a lot and you're making money, you're lifting things up. And there's a lot of things to be said for when you're doing repetitive actions like that, because you have to lift the water up to put it in the cart, then you have to lift it again to scan it, then you have to lift it again to put it in your car, then you have to lift it and walk to the people's door. And that's not even including if they're in an apartment. I mean, I literally, like, the pounds lost themselves at that point, even when you're not eating mindfully, which, is best. You should eat mindfully. But even that, eating mindfully for me was eating whole foods. It was not cutting anything out. And you'll find that your body craves that. Usually you have to figure out what are the obstacles that are stopping you from that, right? From listening to your desires. So you'll feel like, I don't really want to eat that pre-made cake. I don't know, just something about that. Like, it's probably full of chemicals. Like, you'll just feel like, this probably doesn't taste great. And then you'll guilt yourself. Like, I feel guilty because, like, are you bougie? Are you this? Are you that? You're broke. What are you shouldn't have preferences. And then the other voice comes in and is like, hi, this is the voice you need to be listening to. Go to this bakery and have this cake. Why? Because this bakery is made with whole ingredients. The difference between a whole ingredient cake is how your body reacts to it. First of all, your senses are tantalized. Your senses love it. And so it's fulfilling an aspect of humanity that you need. You do need that part of pleasure. Without pleasure, life is meaningless. But the other part is your body knows how to react to wheat and sugar, right? And all these things. And so you'll actually begin, after like the first piece, even when you get on the second one, you begin to feel literally physically full. Or you'll be like, I don't want any more of this, or this is too sweet. You'll stop. Your natural body will react with it. I found that my natural body doesn't react with things with a lot of synthetic ingredients. So the things that I used to eat, like ho-hos and ding-dongs and things like that, you could down 1,000,000 of those. As candy was the big thing. I was like, I can eat a bag and a half of candy and not feel it. But when I eat a real cake and a real cookie, baby, I'm eating one, maybe two, and then I'm done. These are things that we as a collective have to get good with, is sitting within ourselves. What is the truth for you? Where do you feel? And do things intentionally and not just following the crowd, because this stuff here that is happening are not things that are easily reversible. The effects are deadly, and deadly doesn't always mean death. That's not the worst thing. Deadly means kind of irreversible or hard to reverse. Long-term side effects for something that you were using as a quick fix. And also you have to have the foresight to see, what am I going to do after I get off this drug? What is going to be different about me getting off? Or else we'll be right back in the same position. Why do we not know this? Why is this not common sense? Why are we just following trends and not thinking for ourselves? To be clear, this decision is not right or wrong. My concern, my issue is that you all are not thinking clearly. You are not processing what is the best thing for me to do. Until next time.